I've seen accidents, but I've never seen anything like this. And I've seen the pregnant mother that was laying on the side, that was pregnant. Then you seen the child, the baby.
Breaking scene just moments ago, CHP confirming that another body has been found in the wreckage, bringing the death toll now to a total of 6 people. And if we step out of
fire at the intersection of La Brea and Slauson, we have multiple cars involved, multiple cars on fire.
It looked like the whole intersection from corner to corner was on fire. Really, at first, I thought that they dropped a bomb on us. I realized that it was 2 cars there. You could see the people on fire.
Police identified 37-year-old Nicole Linton as the driver of the streaking Mercedes coupe, saying she ran a red light, slamming into multiple vehicles. The cars decimated. Linton, surviving with moderate injuries, now charged with vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence.
That surveillance video appearing to show she made no effort to slow down. She survived.
A speeding driver plows through a red light and into several cars at Slauson and La Brea Avenues.
And I saw the fire. I don't know if the gas station was going to explode.
New details coming to light regarding Miss Linton's mental health. The LA County DA's office filing a motion to hold the defendant without bail. This document disclosing Miss Linton's history of mental health illness dating back to 2018. It says she had a number of prior incidents which appear to be increasing in severity, ranging from jumping on police cars to jumping out of apartment windows. The defense even indicating Miss Linton has been subject to involuntary commitments on several occasions and has hurt herself more than once.
Nicole Lorraine Linton was born on the island of Jamaica on June 27, 1985. She came to the United States at 10 years old and lived in Mount Vernon, New York during her formative years. She attended Howard University in Washington, D.C., where she was a Dean's List student. She graduated in 2007 with a degree in marketing. Subsequently, she worked as a sales manager at General Motors in Westchester County, an area just north of New York City. She lost that job due to company restructuring and began working as a cocktail waitress at strip clubs in the Big Apple. She was reportedly living quite fast around men, a lot of drinking and partying. A friend of hers from that period said she had some poor luck with men and that she more than once threatened suicide following bad breakups. Eventually, she would shift gears and pursue a career in the medical field after struggling to find work in marketing. In 2012, she moved to Laredo, Texas, where she worked as an operating room technician at Laredo Medical Center. During this period, she traveled back and forth between Laredo and Houston, where she was attending the University of Texas, working on a second degree, this one in nursing. In 2016, she began working as a nurse in West Houston Hospital's intensive care unit. She was living in Houston full-time at this point. In 2017, she decided to continue her education and went to grad school at the University of Texas Science Center, where she studied anesthesia. Also in 2017, Nicole apparently experienced a devastating loss when the man she supposedly planned to marry was killed in a motorcycle accident. Jermaine Mason was a track and field star who won a silver medal in the Beijing Olympics in the year 2008. Acquaintances of Nicole say that she was deeply affected by the athlete's death. However, according to reports, there is little to no evidence that the two were in fact in a relationship. At the time of his passing, Mason was publicly attached to another woman with whom he had 2 children and a third on the way. Nevertheless, at least one of Nicole's friends has suggested that her life began to unravel following the man's demise. Nicole's family realized that she was struggling with psychological issues in May of 2018. She was working at the hospital and was also in grad school then, and the heavy workload took its toll on her. The stress was too much for her and it broke her, Nicole's sister Camille has said. At that time, Nicole suffered what's been referred to in some reports as a manic episode. One day she went out for a jog and ended up at a restaurant, according to a family member who was visiting Nicole then. Evidently, Nicole started hallucinating. Apparently, Nicole believed her family was inside the restaurant and were there to throw a surprise party for her. She tried to gain entry to the place and someone called the police. When officers responded, she ran from them before, quote, jumping on top of their cruiser. She was arrested for disorderly conduct. The charges would later be dropped, but in the days following the incident, Nicole's mania continued. She wasn't sleeping and she was paranoid. She thought her neighbors were watching her and that her family was secretly recording her with their cell phones. Apparently, she told family members that she believed she was possessed by her deceased grandmother. Her family convinced her to see a counselor. Then she checked herself into a psychiatric ward. Early on in her stay at the hospital, one day she began ranting about her arrest, claiming that she would sue the police and take the case to the Supreme Court. During her rant, she smashed her head into a glass partition. Her injuries required stitches. She reportedly sang Bob Marley as medical staff attended to her wounds. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder during her stay and was prescribed medication. A year later, she was committed again after a concerned neighbor contacted Nicole's sister, Kim, who was also living in Houston at the time. Nicole had evidently been running around her apartment complex completely naked. During the pandemic of 2020, Nicole ceased taking her meds and her mental health deteriorated further. Reports say that Nicole began acting strangely, not sleeping, and becoming obsessive about cleaning. Apparently, she ranted at family members and accused them of stealing from her. Conversely, reports also seem to suggest that she was thriving around that time, at least to some degree, and especially in her career. In 2020, she became a traveling ICU registered nurse. During the next 2 years, she would live and work in various cities and medical facilities across the country, from North Carolina to Maryland to Georgia and California. In 2021, she got a job contracting for California-based healthcare group Kaiser Permanente at their West Los Angeles Medical Center. She posted this on her Instagram story on her last day at Atlanta, Georgia's Emory University Hospital. She seems to tell the world here that she's excited about her future prospects and that she sees her impending assignment in Los Angeles as an opportunity. She drove her black Mercedes-Benz E-Class coupe to LA and found an Airbnb on a quiet street in the West Adams neighborhood. She worked 4 12-hour shifts per week at the hospital, and away from work, she spent her time surfing, meditating, eating healthy, working out, and learning to roller skate. She bought a house in Houston during this period and wanted to be reassigned to Hawaii to continue her education. She was researching the cost to have her car shipped to the islands. According to Nicole's sister, Kim, just several weeks ago, in the first days of August 2022, Nicole became somewhat unsettled. Nicole talked about being stressed out by the job in FaceTime calls with Kim, who was still living in Houston at the time. During the calls, Kim could see that Nicole's eyes were bloodshot. Nicole told Kim that she had been having trouble sleeping. On Thursday, August 4th, 2022, Kim got a FaceTime call from Nicole. Nicole had come home from work for lunch, and she was completely nude during the call for some reason. She went back to work where she FaceTimed her sister again. During that call, Nicole said that her coworkers were acting weird. According to Kim, as she video chatted with Nicole, one of Nicole's coworkers was walking with her as she moved about the hospital. Nicole introduced Kim to the colleague during the call. Kim got the impression that Nicole was being escorted or followed about the premises. Nicole FaceTimed Kim again about a half an hour later. It was now 1:24 p.m. Nicole was saying that she was leaving work again. She was already in the car. According to Kim, Nicole was still acting strange during this chat session, speaking in fragments and not making sense. Nicole told Kim that she was flying out to Houston the next day. She wanted to do her niece's hair, she told Kim from behind the wheel. She also told her sister that she would be getting married. She said that Kim should meet her at the altar. Kim realized then that her sister had lost it once again. She contacted her other sister, Camille, in North Carolina to give her the urgent news. At a little after 1:30, Nicole was driving down La Brea Avenue in the Windsor Hills neighborhood of LA at a high rate of speed. As she approached the intersection of Slauson Avenue, the traffic signal turned red. Nicole's vehicle sped forward and didn't slow down. According to prosecutors, she accelerated from 122 miles per hour and reached a speed of 130 miles per hour by the time she reached the intersection. The Mercedes sailed into oncoming traffic, creating a multiple-car collision in which one car was cut almost completely in two. Upon initial impact, a massive fireball rose from the intersection of La Brea and Slauson.
All of a sudden, I heard a big explosion. But as I was trying to turn around, the flames just went over everybody.
The children were screaming, crying. They were screaming, the baby, the baby. He was very fast. There was a lot of fire. A body or something hit our truck.
Just like a bomb. Boof.
Really, at first, I thought that they dropped a bomb on us. I realized that it was 2 cars there. You could see the people on fire.
He tells us 3 adults became trapped in these 2 cars. He says the fire was just too intense for them to make it out alive.
The impact and the ensuing flames killed 6. 23-year-old Asha Ray Ryan, her 11-month-old child, Alonzo Quintero, her boyfriend, Reynold Lester, and their unborn child. Ryan was 8.5 months pregnant when she was killed. She was reportedly excited about the imminent birth. When the collision occurred, she and the others were on their way to a prenatal checkup. The boy she was carrying had been named Armani Lester, according to reports. Also killed were close friends, 43-year-old Natisha Lewis and Lynette Noble, who was 38 years old. They could not be positively identified initially because of the severity of their injuries. The 2 women's families found out that they were killed in the crash about a week later when Lewis's remains were identified using DNA technology. Noble's family is certain that her Nissan is one of the cars that was burned following the collision. 8 other people were injured. Billowing smoke could be seen from miles away after the crash. This woman was standing at the gas station at the intersection when she heard the impact.
I saw things flying in the air because I didn't know what was going to hit me. And then all of a sudden, a baby literally flew from the middle of the intersection to the middle of the gas station, landed right on the floor in front of me. And one of the workers came and saw me with the baby and took the baby out of my hands. Somebody tried to resuscitate the baby, but the baby was gone.
Nicole's sister Kim has said that she didn't notice the warning signs that her sister was at the start of another manic episode until after the fact. After the tragedy, the realization sank in as Kim recalled what she'd seen during those FaceTime calls. Her sister's obsessive cleaning, the insomnia, the anxiety. Images posted online after the crash appear to show Nicole sitting on the curb in hospital scrubs and with a bloody arm, not critically injured. Photos of the wreckage circulated as well. Some residents descended on the site, created a memorial, and mourned the heartbreaking event. Nicole was evaluated by Dr. William Winter at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center on Saturday, August 6th, just 2 days after the crash. Winter's evaluation reportedly states that Nicole has bipolar disorder and suffered an apparent lapse of consciousness at the time of the crash. She has no recollection of the events that led to her collision, said the doctor's report. According to the doctor, all Nicole remembers is waking up lying on the pavement and seeing her car in flames. While the extent of Nicole's injuries from the crash were not included in the report, Winter mentioned fractures, and Nicole's lawyers said that the traveling nurse is using a wheelchair to move around jail. The report was part of a motion filed by Nicole's attorneys, which detailed her struggles with mental health in recent years and argued that their client should be released to a medical facility for observation or that her bail should be set at no more than $300,000. In arguing against transferring the defendant to a treatment facility, the prosecution has said that Nicole is a danger to the community and a flight risk, considering her home address in Houston, Texas, and her recent plans to relocate. The prosecution has said that Nicole was conscious when the accident occurred, that she has recalled parts of the crash, that she had failed to take prescribed medication to treat her bipolar disorder, and had a history of reckless driving. On Monday, August 8th, Nicole Linton was charged with 6 counts of murder and 5 counts of gross vehicular manslaughter. She was denied bail. About a month later, at a pretrial hearing on Monday, September 12th, Nicole was again denied bail and she remained detained at LA's notorious Twin Towers Correctional Facility. She pleaded not guilty to all charges on that day. Some of Nicole's acquaintances have speculated that the crash may have been an attempt by Nicole to take her own life. Prosecutors have not suggested a motive for the crimes of which it has accused Nicole Linton. Nicole's attorneys have stated that they will ask another judge at a future hearing to sign an order allowing their client to be, at least temporarily, moved to a county hospital for mental health testing. Nicole Linton's potential sentence is up to 90 years to life in prison if convicted of the crimes of which she's been accused. Thanks once again for tuning in. Thanks for liking. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for subscribing. I'm trying to make it to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you haven't already, please subscribe, help me reach that goal. I've got some interesting stories I want to share with you guys. Thanks again for checking me out. Until the next time, peace.